thank you for letting me do this interview.
Well, nice to see you again.
I'd like to talk about US Forex brokerage.
Sure.
Gone through a banking turmoil throughout the world, actually, and the US seems to have been the first to react with regulation changes.
Yeah.
And some of those, on the face of them, seem to be not beneficial, but in fact, there's quite a lot of beneficial things within the detail. And I think the thing that covers this is Dodd-Frank Act.
Right.
Is that right?
Sure.
What's the background to the Dodd-Frank Act? Why was it felt necessary to pass that legislation?
Well, the act in and of itself is a very, very huge bill that encompasses a lot of different things. Okay, but the impetus for putting it together was the financial collapse that we went through in 2008, when the banks in the U.S. Went through all of their problems based on the collateralized debt and the mortgage problems that are well known to everybody around the world, and now a lot of countries are living and experiencing the same thing. But we went through it in 2008, and out of it came new regulation to strengthen the banking system overall. But incorporated in strengthening the banking system, Dodd-Frank laws and the CFTC in the U.S., the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, took the opportunity to really put in some additional safeguards in the Forex market in particular, because the Forex market had unfortunately, but not necessarily unjustly, achieved a moniker of the Wild Wild West, yeah, where rules and regulations didn't always apply, and the customer or the clients were left relatively vulnerable. And we know that the Forex market is a huge market, a huge opportunity. It's an international market. It's a $4 trillion a day market. And it's silly to prevent people from participating in that market when it provides many, many opportunities on all levels. However, in the U.S., rightfully, I believe rightfully, the U.S. government took the position that regulations need to be strengthened.
And the US is actually ahead of the curve here, because it's something that hasn't happened in the rest of the world, really.
Well, it's happening now around the world, but sure. And so in 2008, the US economy was teetering. The banking system was in a turmoil. We had our own TARP program, which was put into place to help bail out the banks. And as a process of bailing out the banks, significantly additional capital requirements and regulations were put on the banking industry to prevent that type of situation from happening again. So since 2008, the banking sector of the U.S. economy has improved drastically. Now, are they doing great? They're not doing great right this second. However, they're not vulnerable like they were in 2008. They're much better capitalized at this point, and we've gone through our pain and we've made our adjustments. I believe that the rest of the world is in the process of first experiencing that pain and first having to address and deal with those situations.
Yeah. One of the things that I understand is that there's an increase in transparency as well if you look at Forex brokers,
sure,
through the Commodity Futures Trading Commission.
Yeah.
Just tell me about how that's transparent and how it's a matter of public record and how you can look at the...
Well, sure. Look, before you want to place your money anywhere or do business in any kind of trading environment or banking environment, you want to be comfortable with the institutions that you're dealing with, okay? And the best way to become comfortable, in my opinion, is to do a little research, see what's behind the numbers, see what's behind the names that are out there. And because of the regulation in the U.S., with the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, you can go to their website, and all of the pertinent financial data for each, well, in Forex it would be called an RFED. Those are the new terms.
Right.
Okay.
That stands for?
Retail Foreign Exchange Dealer, RFED. As opposed to, they used to be FCMs, which are Futures Commission Merchants, but Futures Commission Merchants were primarily set up for futures, commodity futures. And for a long time, Forex kind of fell under those guidelines because there was no other specific guidelines for them. With the new rules and regulations that came out via Dodd-Frank, a new subset was classified RFED, Retail Foreign Exchange Dealer, which applies to people in the Forex business. Okay? Now, in the U.S., in order to be an RFED, you must have a minimum of $20 million of net capital in your business. That's outside of any customer deposits. This is $20 million in your own.
And that's got to step up, isn't it? Isn't that that's
sure.
quite an onerous
Well, $20 million to get into a business. And not only that, to have to maintain $20 million in the business, and you cannot fall under that $20 million without subjecting yourself to tremendous issues with the National Futures Association.
Okay.
Tremendous. And these are numbers that need to be reported. In particular, an RFED needs to report these numbers. And I think it's within 10 days. I don't want to be specific, but reasonably after the end of every single month, so that information is always current.
So these are much more stringent rules. What do you think that's done for the reputation of Forex brokerage in the US?
Well, it should give a lot of credibility.
Yeah.
I'm a U.S. guy, and I have a U.S. business, and I understand that. But on the same token, I don't know where else in the world, quite frankly, right now, I would be more comfortable doing business. Yeah. Not because the rest of the world isn't up to the standards or doesn't care as much, but in the U.S., we've been through the issue. And we've already adjusted our policies to prevent additional things like what happened in 2008 come through. Yeah. So, as far as I'm concerned, I feel very comfortable doing business in the U.S.